Hello everyone, this is Rachel with Mic Drop Miniatures, and today I'm going to show you how we're going to make brick using a simple egg carton. So in your December 2022 miniature subscription box, you received this do-it-yourself fireplace. So I would like to teach you how we're going to put brick on that. Couple things that you may need are some glue. I'm just using Gorilla Glue, but you can use pretty much any glue you want. You're gonna need some paintbrushes to color the egg cartons, and you can either use pastels to color or you can use simple paint. You also need some scissors if you choose to cut, but you can just rip. You will need an egg carton. So in your subscription box, you did get a packet of egg cartons. If you don't have egg cartons, you can also use those containers that you get at fast food for beverages. And then you'll also need some grout for the final stage. And this was also included in your subscription box. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is decide where you want the bricks. I just want the bricks on this front and the side and this side. I think I will paint all the rest of the pieces and maybe even stain the top. So there's a couple ways. I'm sorry for my messy hands. I am a messy creator. I don't know if anyone else is, but so there's a couple ways that you can make your bricks. You can simply rip them and make irregular stones, or like my friend Jen did on hers, she simply made more rectangles and squares. So depending on the look you're going for, maybe what I could do, I'll show you both ways. Maybe it'd be fun to put the rectangles here, or maybe inside, that's a good idea, and then put the irregular ones here. I like how fireplaces you can wrap them around, so I will show you that. So let's begin by just ripping some pieces. You'll notice too, you want the side that has the texture. All right, so let's start ripping. So let's get started. What you want to do is get a generous amount of glue on your piece. Okay. My glue here, the tip has dried glue in it, so it's not very well. So what I like is I just have this little spreader, but you can use paper. If you like to get really messy, you could use your finger. This will all dry really clear, so you can get as messy as you want here. But the trick is to get the whole surface filled with the glue. All right, and I'm even gonna get some glue onto my sides. Elmer's glue even works well for this, like the school glue. Guess I should have got a glue that actually has some in it. Oh, see, wonderful mess. Told you I'm messy. Messy, but I feel like it always comes out in the end. So I guess that's okay. I just love using this technique. I feel like it's so realistic. I'll show a picture of a house that I did. The whole entire house was a carton brick, and it's actually a store front, and it turned out really cute. So I've always loved doing this technique, and I hope that you do too. Oh, come on, glue. I may have to go get a different glue because this guy is not my friend today. All right. Hopefully that's enough glue for a little bit. I have learned over the years, though, I get these cheap foam boards from the dollar store, and I protect my surfaces. I used to not protect my surfaces. And now that I have new countertops, I'm like, yeah, I need to be more cautious of what I'm doing and not so messy. So I highly recommend them. All right. So there, we're all filled with glue. Actually, I don't have any in the back, so I stick to my board. I'm gonna put it upside down. I hope that's okay. I just can't see with this, with the mantle or the floor piece. All right, so now the fun part. We just start laying down our bricks into a pattern that we like. Okay, so a couple things just some tips that I found along the way. Getting the egg carton to actually bend over was a little difficult. I found that glue is your friend. Once the egg carton gets saturated with the glue, it does become more pliable, so it's easier to bend over. So one thing that you could do is if your egg carton is pretty stiff and it's not bending over, you could maybe even wet it down with a little bit of water. I wouldn't do much, but you could definitely wet it down, and then I believe it'll stick better to the sides. It'll wrap around better for you. So what you want to do, this is a little messy process. I like to use my fingers, but you can use like a paintbrush or any type of tool that you don't mind getting glue on, I guess. And I just like to go around and make sure that all the edges are pushed down, that I'm kind of smoothing out the corners so we don't get those little fibers sticking up. And then what you want to do is you're gonna let this dry, and then we'll come back and do the next step. So isn't it looking great already? Love it. So I thought I'd also show you how I'm going to do, I decided to do flat pieces of stone all the way across. And how I got these flat is I took an egg carton and I cut the very top of it. So not the corner pieces, but this top. And I'm going to make sure that I don't have any writing. So I had a few pieces on my fireplace that I removed because if you're going to use chalk or anything that's really transparent, maybe you want this natural gray stone to show through, definitely don't have any writing from the egg carton on your piece. So what I'll do is same process. First, let me just make sure I have them spaced out where I like it. I may have to cut one piece. Oh, there. So now all I want to do is glue, just like I did the other pieces, a generous amount of glue. And this project does use a lot of glue, and I know that Gorilla Glue can get expensive. So if you have just regular Elmer's white glue, remember that'll work too, because it does actually use way more glue than I remember. And I think what I'll do is I'll make some more pieces and even go inside the fireplace. So I definitely want to get some glue in there. So I hope you're enjoying this project. It is very messy, but I actually find it fun. Fun and therapeutic. I like to get my fingers dirty sometimes, so hopefully you do as well. And then I already decided doing the project that I will paint the inside. This, and this black. However, if you would want to do like really little pieces of like little triangles all the way around, I think that would look super cute. But for the purposes of training and just showing you this video, we'll just paint it. All right, so then I'm just gonna go and lay my pieces down. And then we need to let it dry. I know that's always the hardest part about making miniatures. So I will be back once the piece dries. All right, now that my piece is kind of dry, I'm gonna move along and paint the pieces. I just love it, isn't it so cute? It already looks so great. All right, so like I mentioned before, you can use pastels, or you can just use simple acrylic paint. Or if you don't have any of those supplies, I mean, you could leave it just as is, let it fully dry though, and then just add the caulking, which I'll show you at in the next step. So it's totally up to you. I will show you how to paint it though. I think I'll do both techniques. I will do the chalk maybe on the bottom, and then I will do the paint on the top so you can kind of see. So I think the color pattern I'm gonna go with are some browns. You definitely wanna get a lighter one, some darkers, and then a mid-tone. And then for my chalk, I think I'm gonna use like this burnt sienna, maybe do a little red for the bottom. So I usually get like a razor blade. I don't have one right now. So what I'll do is I'll just scrape a little bit of the color I want to use into the tray. All right. So let's start with the darker colors. Let's see if you can see this. So you're just gonna go around and add the color. So I think what I'll do is I definitely want, you know, more of the darker colors around the sides. So I'll do that for each one. And then I'll go in with a lighter color, say this one. And I'm gonna do highlights in the middle. I would definitely use a couple different colors to achieve a more natural look than to just use one. All right, so All right, so now I have my chalk pieces done. As you can see, I used 3 different colors. And now I'm going to show you how I use paint. So kind of the same as chalk, except I'm going to water down my paint pretty good. Let me get some water here. So I want to start with my darkest color, so that I'm using a brown. A little paint goes a long way. All right, so let's see if you can. Definitely want to really water it down. All right, so just like the chalk, you are going to go in and just highlight some of those areas. I think even I want more water because I don't want it to be too dark, and I still want to see like those grays show through from the carton. I think I even want a little more water. Beauty of paint is you can always just go back with water if it's too dark and pick up some of that pigment. So I definitely wouldn't color the whole stone. I would just highlight on certain areas of it. And then we'll go back with our other two colors and add some highlights. So I'm trying to think, like, where would the darkest part of the stone be? Probably in the deep crevices of the stone. So like here. Probably the outsides, the corners. I just love this technique. It's so much fun, and it's so, it's cheap. If you, I guess, eggs these days though are not cheap. If you eat eggs, it used to be what, 99 cents, and now I think I just bought a dozen for, I think it was $4.50 for organic eggs. Crazy. But if you have some friends that have egg cartons, then it's definitely, that they're willing to give you, then it's definitely a cheap and fun project. Right. All right, so now that I have the dark color, I'm just gonna go back with my medium color, my mid-tones, which I probably should have had maybe a little lighter color, but we'll see. Yeah, it's pretty similar to what I'm already using, but red, but we will see what it does. So if you want, you can let it dry a little before you go on to this second color. Okay, there is my painted fireplace. So the final step that we want to do is you are going to take a clear coat. Once this paint is dry, just take a clear coat. I'm going to use Mod Podge, but you could also use a spray acrylic if you want, just to protect it, the color, for when we put the grout on. So I'm going to go ahead and let this dry, and then I'm going to do a thin coat of Mod Podge. All right, so let's move on to our final step. We are going to add the grout. My piece is somewhat dry. It's a little wet right here, but I'm going to go ahead and continue on. So in your subscription box, you would have got this bag of grout. You can get these at any big box stores, any home improvement store. They come in different colors. Here is the kind of grout that I gave you in your miniature subscription box. All right, so the first thing, and I should point out that I painted it black on the inside, I stained the top, and I also painted the back. Not necessary, but I just went ahead and painted it. And it was a little wet, as you can see by my fingers. Okay, so let's move on. So the first thing I want to do is cut just a little hole in this bag that you received. If you're doing this and you're not a subscriber, you didn't receive this, or maybe you're doing another project, a little sandwich bag, Ziploc baggie works great too. And so what we're going to do is just fill in all of the areas, trying to get in the corners. So I really do hope that this grout came to you safely. I live in Wisconsin, so shipping, I hope it didn't freeze, but we shall see. But again, you can pick up grout anywhere. It's pretty cheap. I think you can maybe even get some at the dollar store. Okay, so now the next step is you're going to take a rag, or I'm just using some baby wipes because that's what I have handy, but a rag that you can rinse out with water works great here too. So what we're going to do is just go and smooth out those lines. And if you've ever tiled or used grout in like a real life project, you know you wipe and then you rinse your rag and you just keep wiping until all of the grout comes up. So the reason for the Mod Podge or a sealer is it's going to help, not because you're wiping so much, you don't want to wipe the color all off your stone. So this takes a little bit of time, but just be patient and just keep rubbing, wiping and rubbing until you achieve the look that you are looking for. Making sure that you get grout in all those little areas. We're almost done. Are you excited to see the final piece? I would love to see your pieces and what you make. So please share it on social media and tag me at Mic Drop Miniatures so that I can see. Or if you're not in our Facebook group, you can search the Mini District community, and I would love to see your final piece. So here's my fireplace. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching.